Hello there, everybody. How are you? I usually come and talk with you in the morning. So it was a real treat when I felt compelled to make a video with you right now in the afternoon. Um, and I want to just connect with you about the creative voice and talk with you a little bit about that from the point of view of somebody who is extremely creative, meaning that, I constantly feel the calling to create, and, whether it's in words or whether it's in visual art or, for my business, in my home, making a beautiful meal or, making sacred space in my house. There's this constant need to create. And I was teaching this weekend. Actually, I taught 2 workshops this weekend. One with my buddy, Gina Edwards, who is a good friend and happens to be my editor for I'm her daughter, and a colleague in the sense that she really understands creative voice. She really understands the creative act, and I taught a workshop on Saturday morning called Embracing the Creative Voice, which was really fun. My part of that was to take the workshop participants through a right brain process of investigating the hero's journey, in this case, the heroine's journey, because the workshop was all women, and it was really, really juicy. But then later in the afternoon, I taught a workshop about promoting your creative voice. And I was amazed that that workshop in the afternoon, the promotion workshop, actually attracted several people who are, in various stages of wounding about their creative self. I was expecting people who were like, okay, yeah, I wrote a book and I'm ready to go out there and promote it. Or, okay, yeah, I have a body of art that I'm ready to go out there and take into the world. And no, I mean, these were people who were in these various stages of wounding, and it was really interesting because, not only did I not expect that, but we were able to heal some of that in this, workshop, which was just amazing. So I thought today I would just share a little bit. So I'm coming to you from my studio, which happens to be, in my basement garage. I'm going to show you around my studio just a little bit so you can see where I'm coming to you from. So, this is my crazy industrial shelving with my papers and canvases and fabrics and all the magazines that I pull from, to do the collaging component, and my forms. I make these masonite forms for the mermaids and for the goddess shapes and the angel shapes, and of course giant masonite forms too, like this beautiful creature. The big goddess is on masonite too. But I tend to work here in this space, and then, I've got other storage space over here, painting and glue and all the various things. And so I want to talk a little bit about, that idea of calling, and how I think sometimes creativity is misunderstood. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see better. Oh, hello, I can see better now. So several people, they'll tell you, oh, I'm not creative. I don't have a creative bone in my body. And I always, there's this knee-jerk reaction I have about that. I just don't believe that's true. I don't think that it's possible that you can be alive and not have a creative bone in your body. Nature is creative. We are nature. We are made of nature. We are creating every single minute that we're alive, whether we're creating with our thoughts or whether we're creating with our in our homes, whether we're creating with our visual art books, whether we make a business. We're creating all the time. We really, truly are. And from the point of view of Julia Cameron, who's, obviously brilliant mother of creativity and coaching for creative people. She says that creativity and spirituality are the same thing. And I really agree with that. I think that that's absolutely right. I can't separate them. I can't separate creativity from spirituality. And in fact, I would say that the calling to create is more spiritual than anything else I experience. I'm trying to give you a cool background to look at, and I'm not having a very successful attempt at that. I'll just stay put so that I'm not making you dizzy. Oh, look, there's a little ancestor background. That's kind of cool. So for just a moment, let me allow this, impulse to come through about defining creativity, as the very act of deciding you're going to make a mark in the world. And, it seems like creativity has been hijacked. The idea of creativity has been hijacked by, like, you have to be some fancy pants. There has to be a label. So it has to be art, or it has to be a book, or it has to be, something grand. And you have to be really good at it to be, considered an actual creative person. And that's just really so untrue. I remember one of the most creative people I ever met was a woman who just couldn't keep her hands still. And she made the most beautiful gardens. She planted little baby seeds and nurtured them in a nursery and grew them up. And I'll tell you what, never saw such a creative woman in my life. And that was what she did. She grew baby plants into maturity to sell them from a nursery. It's a flow of energy that comes through us. It's a flow of what I would suggest larger than us energy coming through. And so that's where that kind of crossover between creativity and spiritual act, I can't separate them. So, okay, the calling. What is that calling? So if you feel like there's something inside of you that is asking to be born, all right, something that is kind of knocking at the door, and you can feel it. You may not even be able to name it. You may not be able to give a definition to it or give a category to it, but you feel a sense of calling. You feel it's a yearning. It's an ache. It's a hunger. It's something that has to be, it's an itch that has to be scratched. In fact, I often call it divine itch. You have to scratch it. You have to answer the call. That's the creative call, and that's something bigger than our little mind, our little ego, asking to be birthed through us. And as I was, this morning, I was on my morning offering on the I'm Her Daughter page, which is every morning at 8:30 to open up for half an hour for live video on practices to, promote women's wisdom and really connect with that creative energy deep inside of our bellies and in the earth. And this morning we were talking about birth because today is a new moon, and it's a perfect time to do this kind of work, this creative work, and to answer that call to germinate that seed that's inside of us, and to pay attention, give some acknowledgement to the part of us that is a conduit for larger energy. Now, you can call that larger energy what you like. Some people call it, spirit, or the divine, or God, or the creator. Since I studied the brain and do work with neurological diversity and, promote whole brain communication, I think of the universe as a giant brain, and that there's a collective intelligence that flows through all things and holds all things, and that it seeks expression through us. that intelligence seeks expression through us in very different ways, each of us very differently, because we're each designed very differently, or our templates are very different, our architectural plans are very different, and so what, that same wonderful energy that started the whole universe, can flow through me and look like this, and flow through you and look like something completely different, because the filter that it's coming through is quite different. The interests, are quite different. The passion and the training and the various things that we've done in our lives, to create ourselves. The filter, is very unique. Each of us is quite unique. And so that calling is, I believe, the desire of the divine to express through us, and that we have the opportunity, of course, as free will human beings, to say yes or no, yay or nay. We can refuse. It's like water being poured, through, and that water can, then move through us and nourish and water the world, but that we can be like, nope, no water for me. No, I don't want that beautiful, creative energy moving through me. I'm not going to do anything with it. So no, not going to do anything. And what winds up happening is we wind up getting very sad, or depressed even. When we keep saying no to creative energy, we wind up, our soul hurts, our heart hurts, and we get sad or depressed. Texting, isn't that nice? I thought. So my advocacy, just for a few minutes today, coming from my crazy messy studio. You should see what I'm working on right now. She asked to be born. What can I do? I'm going to show you this girl. I'm going to show you what I've got going out on here. I think I'm designing a line of evening gowns. And I'm still kind of putting it together. But check this out. See what you think about this. Do you see what I'm doing here? So I used one of Peter's fractals, one of his beautiful fractal designs, to create kind of a long skirt on this goddess form, which again is masonite. And then I wanted to create as if it were like a sleeveless halter kind of scenario with a collar for up here, and for her arms, the sleeves perhaps to be made of coral. So this is a picture of coral. And then this is some costume jewelry that I picked up somewhere. I think I'm going to put some flowers across here. I'll take them off of this little gizmo here. This is one of those lays, that you get for free somewhere. Take these flowers off and put them across as a belt. And I thought about making a veil. This is like a little shallot net bag that you get at the grocery store. I thought I might make a veil out of that. And so you might say, what the heck? This isn't going to solve any world problems to make this, for me to be working on this little goddess. It's not going to, promote world peace or, oh, my oyster shells, or, heal any deep, chasm inside of myself to make this. However, she asked to be made. The impulse of the greater intelligence, again, by whatever name you call that, asked that, that this be made. And so I'm making it because there's something about making it, and there's something about following that guidance. There's something about following the impulse to create whatever it may be. Again, art, writing, a business, creating beautiful space in your home, creating relationship with people, making a beautiful meal. There's something about following the impulse to create and following those almost like instructions that satisfies something very deep inside of us, and reminds us that we're part of something much bigger than ourselves, that we're not alone, that we're not, philandering, not philandering, we're not floundering about, we're not alone in this universe, that the creative energy that's coming through us is actually it's a connecting force, and that we can be part of that and feel really good about it. And it doesn't really matter so much the results of our making the mark on the world, whatever that may be. What matters is that we do it, that we follow the prompt, that we follow that that urge, that calling, and good things happen as a result of doing that. So that's all I had to say today, just a quickie. Hope to join you again from my studio sometime soon, and show you the next things that I'm working on. And in the meantime, go out there and make your mark. Lots of love. Bye.